showtime. CFM Radio.
CFM Radio, we are live.
Greetings and welcome. Welcome back if you're returning to CFM Radio, Clusterfucked Media's video game music and news show.
Video game music and news, the best video game music and news headlines with the greatest music from your favorite video games, spun by DJ Benham, aka Drix. Drix, how you doing today?
Dude, doing pretty good. We've got a little tail end of Gamescom coming at you pretty soon, and I've been on my Switch a lot, so I'm glad to be tuning into some of the upcoming Switch games. They had a nice little indie showcase today that we'll be discussing a bit later as well. And yeah, I'm finally getting to play Mario Galaxy with
nice.
Kind of on-the-go touchscreen instead of the traditional Wiimote from its inception. But yeah, I'm enjoying that.
It's definitely a very interesting experience with the touchscreen, but it becomes natural quickly enough. I'm just glad that you're able to play the game. That game is awesome. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, man, and I got my ass handed to me at Pinball League by some pretty good players, some close friends of mine. So if you're going to get beaten, you're going to watch, you're going to get better. And man, even on the tough nights, it was still a lot of fun. We played pretty much until the place closed because that's how competitive pinball works. If you get to a certain level, you start to play for longer and longer periods of time, But all it takes is one good ball, everybody.
Perfect. Hey, you know what? Like most great things in life, as the more you engage with it, the better you end up being.
Yes, practice makes perfect. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely. And hey, you know what? Teamwork definitely makes the dream work because we gotta hand it to those who are standing by Concord. Not even 1,000 players on Steam. We're not gonna spend too long talking about Concord. We talked about Concord, right, Drix?
Yeah, you can hear our thoughts in the YouTube video that we posted.
And I think it still kind of stands. And one more time, I'll just say it right here. Game, for as much flair as it might have, it kind of had no identity of its own. And it was pretty solid as far as game mechanics. And I put in about 8 hours-ish into Concord on the beta. And I couldn't even tell you, I only really remember this robot character you're seeing on the screen right now.
Yes, giant Roomba.
Yeah, big Roomba guy. I don't even remember these other characters. I don't remember their guns or anything like that. But I do remember the guns feeling pretty good, and I do remember the game feeling pretty all right and fun to play. But
yeah,
I'm not clamoring for a game that has so little style, and so because it kind of feels like an old school game that's trying to be a new school game, because it doesn't really, it had good shooting mechanics, and the team based, I guess, strategies were pretty good. But man, when you get into the semantics of the more hardcore modes, you gotta pick a team of 8 characters or something, and they can be the same character but a different variation on the character. And if you win, it's 6 rounds, first to 3 out of 6 rounds, and if you win with a round with one of the characters that you selected, you can't pick that character anymore. It got very confusing very fast, and it all just seemed like I just wanted to engage with the game on a more streamlined level, like Overwatch or any of the other main hero shooters that are on the market right now. One of these hero shooters that I'm not really restricted in what I can do, maybe for the sake of the game itself, but as far as how I can I guess how like picking a main is a big deal, right? Like being able to identify with the character you want to pick with is a big deal, and the fact that you need to be able. And I think it's cool that the game forces you to be so proficient with so many different characters, but at the same time, it's like, man, how long do you have to play in order to unlock as many variations of a character that you need to actually like show off how good you are with them, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't see anybody like rushing out to cosplay as any of these characters either.
Yeah.
Anytime soon. Not like Zenless Zone Zero or anything like that.
which is kind of funny, especially when you say it like that, because you know Zenless Zone Zero, it's free to play, and it has a ton of different characters in it, and everybody like seems to have found their niche who enjoys that game. And that game isn't like, it's not like blowing the doors off like a game like Genshin Impact might, but it still has its following. Drix, this Concord game didn't even break 1,000 players, so I think it's pretty safe to say that it might be DOA as far as a multiplayer game,
Yeah, I wonder if they'll switch it over to some kind of free-to-play style game. If they can even flip that switch if it's available. Like, would it have done better? I don't know. It's some part of it has to be attractive to make people want to stare at this for hours.
In some way, yeah, you would think so. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's just a big lesson in having a visual statement, even if even if your gameplay might be able to make its own statement and be really solid and handle very good and feel very polished, if your visuals don't have their own, they can't make their own statements and don't have a lot to say, then no one's going to remember them.
Yeah, it's like a car that's all engine and tires, or like it's like the Cybertruck of video games right now.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. I think Concord as the Cybertruck of video games is the perfect thing to think of it as. Just something that's like so impressively unimpressive.
Yep. Didn't even finish loading in unrendered car.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? I will say Concord at least does have that going for it. It looks great. Its visuals are beautiful.
Yeah, graphics are awesome.
I just wish the art direction was a little more solid. But I will say, we don't got to worry about Concord for very much longer, because Drix, it's like you were saying just a few moments ago, Gamescom wrapping up.
Yeah, and big news, big titles, big release dates coming up.
Huge deals, we got Borderlands 4 teaser right here on the screen for you. And there was just so much more than this, Drix. I actually didn't think that this thing was going to be so jam-packed. It actually kind of snowballed from where we last left it last week, and it just kind of like announcement after announcement after like deep dive after deep dive. Borderlands wasn't one of the games to get the deep dive, but the Civilization, the new Civilization got a deep dive.
Yeah,
like you pretty much learned a lot about how this game is going to work. Very different style.
Claiming to be the most new player friendly Civilization yet.
Yes.
So
very interesting direction. Along with the current Civilization 7, it's going to be out on the Switch as well. So that one's coming with all the DLC, or so you'll be able to enjoy that one on the go. And then, Drix, even more about games such as Indiana Jones. Like that had another deep dive on it. You had a couple of more games. One of the ones that stood out to me was, I'm going to skip to it on the B-roll here. One of the ones that stood out to me was this one, Mouse PI for Hire.
Yes, the kind of Cuphead-looking first-person shooter game, huh?
Yeah, and you know what, Drix? I thought when I first, this game was revealed a couple years back, and I thought it was pretty impressive at the time. But now that I'm seeing it in action, it does look it definitely looks more like an indie game than it doesn't. Like the budget, you could totally, the budget is on display, I should say. But it oddly works. Like, it's really weird to see these, like, Paper Mario style flat characters in a 3D world, right? Especially since you're shooting them.
Yeah.
But I feel that kind of like the more and more I look at this trailer, the more and more I actually think it's kind of an homage to like old school shooters like the OG Doom, right?
Yeah, it's more of a boomer shooter.
Which is kind of funny because it looks, the visual style and presentation look very modern, even though it's the gameplay and when you take a step back, the presentation as well harkens back to that like very 2D enemy in a 3D space kind of old school feel.
Yeah, and like Cuphead, sounds like it's gonna get, almost Souls-like with difficulty there.
Hey, you know what? I think these kinds of games, these like boomer shooter style games, when the rubber hits the road, you don't really notice the difficulty because it's just so action packed.
Yeah. It gets less difficult the less you stand still.
Yeah, exactly. And like the more you employ the tricks of the game, the more the more easily you will run through the levels, right?
Yeah, exactly. Coming hot off the heels of Angerfoot over here.
Oh yeah, and here it is on the screen too. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. You know what, Drix? Let's just. I think the game looks cool. It looks a little bit like, the effects and the mocap and stuff like that, totally impressive. But as far as the gameplay looks, it also kind of looks. It also looks great. You're jumping around with the whip. You're grabbing you're really living this Indiana Jones fantasy, like.
Yeah, exactly. They're taking a lot of the best moments and putting you behind the whip and underneath the hat.
And like, it seems as though it's going to be focusing, like, even though it's first person, right? It seems like it's going to have a couple of third person segments, and the focus looks more like it's on exploration than combat, which I kind of dig. Yeah,
that's pretty sweet. I mean, very cinematic with the way it's looking so far.
Definitely. And hey, you know what? It's interesting because this one is no longer an Xbox exclusive, right? It's going to be on PS5 as well.
Yes, so welcome. We'll see how this fares in the console world.
Hey, you know what? It's a Bethesda game. They normally build Todd has said they build their games for console, with console in mind always as like the primary way to play. So it's probably, with Bethesda at the helm, it's probably in good hands as far as that goes. Like, like, these mechanics are the thing that interests me, like the exploration, like the Metroid Prime style mechanics, like information gathering, right? Like,
how much actual archaeology is gonna get done here?
I mean, hell, man, I'd be down for just kind of like a Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones experience, right?
Yeah, going around taking pictures, dusting off old pottery and the like.
And it's coming out. It's coming out way faster than I thought it would be, right? December 9th. That's pretty much around the corner when you think about it, because we're going to talk about it a little later in the show, but the new releases, they seem to not be stopping.
Yeah, the ramp only goes up until the holidays and the end of the year,
which is kind of insane. When you see the lineup, you keep it tuned in on CFM Radio. We have 3 new releases we're going to talk about today, but it's one of those phenomena where we're in the full swing of the gaming season, folks. Fourth quarter is right around the corner, and we got to get these games out into your hands. And while I do love games like Greedfall 2 and Mouse PI for Hire, and Indiana Jones and Avowed and all these other sweet games that are coming out like later on. There's a lot that's coming out next month? The floodgates just open.
Soon. Yep. And man, once those levees break, the flow of games is not going to stop.
It really doesn't. We don't even know all of our holiday, what we can look forward to with the holidays. We've had this week alone has 3 huge high-profile releases. We didn't even really have a lot of time to go into the indies for the week, but because it's lock and load time, man. The hardcore stuff is here.
Yeah, exactly. Some stuff we've been waiting for, and fans will surely appreciate.
But you know what? That's not to say anything bad about Gamescom. Gamescom was awesome this year. A lot of deep dive. Got to see a lot of interesting games. A lot of good sequels.
Yeah, Stalker 2 being one of them.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting comeback.
But Drix, was there anything that caught your eye maybe that you wanted to, that you were like, wow, that's really, maybe you want to reactivate the old Game Pass sub, or?
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but we're getting a Starship Troopers game, like a more action, less strategy game.
True.
And like from what I was reading, you can play with up to like 16 people. And even in the early access, but I'm ready for that new Monster Hunter as well.
Yes,
because I haven't been hearing enough about that, and I feel like Gamescom, they're really starting to dive in.
Oh, Gamescom really went in on that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna show us, what separates World from Rise.
And hey, you know what? And like we were saying, Gamescom, that just passed us on the 24th, or ended on the 23rd, and there was just so much that came out of it. For my money, I'm really looking forward to Greedfall 2. I'm really looking forward to Mouse PI for Hire, and I'm really looking forward to Avowed. Even though Avowed became a little bit controversial because the developer came out and said, oh well, it's a first-person RPG. It doesn't need to be 60 frames per second. 30 frames per second is just fine. And that kind of ruffles people's feathers.
Some people really don't like that.
Yeah, some people really don't like it.
The PC master race over there.
Yeah, they really like their 60 frames.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it just seems like there's a lot of great games coming out over the next year or so, and it looks like we're finally going to be able to experience this current generation of consoles for really all it's worth.
Yeah. Maybe a year ago we were saying, oh, we're towards the end of the generation, but a lot of people still haven't pushed the hardware as far as it can go yet. So yeah, we're in full swing now. We're starting to see it.
Oh yeah. But the third parties, Sony called them out, and they're like, all right,
devs, do your stuff.
And you know what? That leads us right into our next segment, because you know who did their stuff, Drix? The indies over at the Nintendo Direct. And it's not just the indies, it's also their partners, because there's a lot that was going on, like right here, Drix. Yakuza on Switch.
Dude, I never thought I would see the day, just because Nintendo is a company based in Japan and how they might feel about even using the word Yakuza. But, it's called what? Ryoga Gokuto over there or something like that. So maybe it's localized a little differently than it is here. But yeah, you can start the Yakuza journey from the beginning pretty much, right?
Yes.
That's what Kiwami is. It's like the first Yakuza game.
Yeah,
kind of
man.
Redone and re-envisioned.
Yeah, man. Yakuza Kiwami is a retelling of the first game. So anybody who's like interested in the Yakuza story can start with Yakuza Kiwami. And you know what, dude, there's one of the things that people don't realize about Yakuza is that this game is full of mini games. And so it really is a great game to have on the go. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, you got your slot cars. You can walk into a Sega Arcade and play Space
Mahjong.
Harrier or something. Like, yeah.
And hey, you know what? This Metal Slug Tactics game, Drix, what are you thinking about that? Didn't that look... I thought it looked pretty cool. New spin on Metal Slug for sure.
I am excited. Brought to us by Dotemu, the same company that does like the Streets of Rage 4, and I think they did the Shredder's Revenge, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game too. We got a couple reviews from them, but yeah, I love the Metal Slug like artwork. I don't think it really gets enough credit for like their art style.
Yes.
And the way their characters kind of look and are designed and stuff. So this is going to be pretty sweet, you know, rediscovering their strengths and weaknesses on a 3D, you know, strategy RPG battlefield.
Definitely a different way to experience Metal Slug.
Yep, a far cry from the 2D side scroll.
The action arcade style side scroller. And you know, again, these games are coming right around the corner. Yakuza, October. They say this Metal Slug game is coming out in fall. And you know what, Drix? This is also coming out soon. This Capcom Fighting Collection #2. Now, admittedly, I haven't picked up the first Fighting Collection, but this one is day one buy for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear often enough about how these are some of your favorite Capcom fighting games, especially from like the Dreamcast era.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Project Justice. I love Power Stone 1 and 2.
Dude,
I cannot get enough Power Stone in my life, so I'm excited to not have to emulate those anymore, really.
Are you ready to play Power Stone with rollback netcode, Drix?
Yeah, online. I don't think anything could prepare me for that, but it's definitely gonna have to be added to my collection of games.
And you know what? These usually don't go for the full like 70. They normally go for like 50. So that it's always a good value for games like these, especially games like you were saying, the Dreamcast fighters, Project Justice, Plasma Sword. You know, even the Capcom vs SNK titles, Capcom vs SNK Pro, not a very well-known port of the game, but it's probably one of the better ones. CVS2, this version of CVS2 has like all the stuff from all the versions of CVS2. Like
yeah, exactly. So you're getting the complete gold edition, the ultimate collection.
Especially since you have Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper, we don't normally have a accessible version of that one over here in the States, but that one is it's very different, especially if you're used to Street Fighter Alpha 3 as it exists now. Upper is a very different take on it, and it's really exciting as a fan to see all these coming, and they'll be here probably, it says next year, 2025. Damn, can't wait.
Yeah, there was a couple that dropped today actually, and I think the big indie one was Pizza Tower.
Yes, the indie one was Pizza Tower, and the partner one, as we're seeing on the screen, was this Castlevania collection. And Drix, I gotta tell you, Castlevania Dominus collection, I played all of these Castlevania DS games. They're awesome.
Yeah. Wow, so these are all DS games then?
Yeah, these are all the DS Castlevania games. Portrait of Ruin, Dawn of Sorrow, and Order of Ecclesia. These are all DS games. I really want to play. I unfortunately don't have the time right now, but I really would like to put the time into these because all of these really needed the touchscreen.
Wow.
Especially Dawn of Sorrow, because part of beating the boss was you needed to seal them away by drawing a seal on the screen.
Ooh, that sounds awesome.
It was awesome.
Seal away demons with your stylus or fingertips.
Man. Dawn of Sorrow, this one has to be like probably my favorite one. It's Soma Cruz.
Yeah, a lot of great visuals coming from the DS and onto your Switch very soon.
Man, you know, and I've got to say, it cannot be understated. These DS games have a ton of content in them. Like, they are huge games. You wouldn't think they're so big, but they are enormous games.
Huh. Yeah, they used to go on an SD card, huh?
Yeah. I think Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, I think I put like 30 hours into that bad boy.
Nice. Yeah. Definitely love some of my favorite Konami music is from the Castlevania series.
Oh, hell yeah. And you better believe, hey, you know what? If you're a fan of that Konami music, these soundtracks are bangers. Again, coming out of a DS, you would never think about this audio quality.
Yeah, exactly. Some might even want a headphone up for these.
Hey, you know what? Especially if you're on your Switch, you have a headphone jack right there. Just top those in there. You even have Bluetooth compatibility on Switch now. That's what's up.
Casting those Bluetooth waves all over the place.
Absolutely, especially for Bud users like me.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there was a good amount of, so there's a lot to look forward to from all sides of gaming right now. It doesn't matter where you are, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, even Switch. Tons of great games coming your way very, very soon.
Yeah. I think Morsels was another one that stood out for me from the Nintendo, the indie showcase. That had like cool art style, frantic gameplay, kind of cute characters, but just all over the place.
Honestly, Drake, the indie showcase, you know, it's going to sound weird, but I really want to play the new Worms.
Yes. Bring that back.
I'm like, holy shit, new Worms? That's amazing. Online? Dude, so cool.
Yeah. A lot of good JRPGs as well.
Oh man, Atelier, the new Atelier game, Suikoden,
Dragon
1
Quest
and 2,
3.
Dragon Quest 3 and 2. You play them backwards?
Yeah, they're coming out backwards because that's chronological.
Yeah, you gotta canonically, Dragon Quest 3 happens before all of them.
Yeah, so here we go. Get ready for the quest.
And Drix, here we go with this track. This track is groovy. What are we listening to?
This is the main title from Alien 3 on the Sega Genesis.
Hell yeah. Alien 3 main title, Sega Genesis, CFM Radio. We'll be right back.
Let's go.
く自然このディスタンス閉ざさないでそのまぶたに隠された瞬きのない愛をくれよ止められないこの想い時が止まっても抱きしめたい折れるほど爪痕は消えないその氷の眼差しこの手で溶かしてひそやかなささやき消えたいぜそのどれ閉ざさないでその瞳に隠された偽り愛をくれ止められないこの想い明日が来なくても抱きしめたい折れるほど爪痕は消えないその氷の眼差しこの愛に溶けてゆく I can't stop loving you all around us using their powers to tear us apart sending out evil spirits to bottle the emotions right here in our heart. Hey man, hey, what you doing? Hey, get back, don't do that. Hey, put that down. Hey, get back. Hey, man, don't do that. I've got a shotgun. Stop playing hurts. Stop playing hurts. I'll fight back the demons till the day I die. Stop playing hurts. Stop playing hurts. Never believe in the lie. 止められないこの想い明日が来なくても抱きしめたい折れるほど爪痕は消えない止められないこの想い時が止まっても抱きしめたい折れるほど爪痕は消えない止められないこの想い明日が来なくても
CFM Radio, we are back. And you know what, Drix? Like I said, we've got some great things to look forward to because, you know, all the new releases this week, they sound like they're bangers.
Yeah, coming hot off the trail off of that Capcom Fighting Collection announcement. That song was called Icy Gaze from Biohazard, also known as Resident Evil in the States.
Hell yeah. You know what? I gotta love those dramatic vocal tracks from Resident Evil games because, like, they really are those, like you really feel like you're running down a hallway.
Yeah, and they spliced in some of that, you know, horror audio. You can just absolutely confirm that somebody's being eaten alive by a biological monster of some kind.
And you are within proximity.
Yeah, no, they're coming for you. That scared me out of playing the first Resident Evil, just hearing that they won't die when you shoot them. And I was like, okay, I guess I shouldn't play that because I won't be able to kill them with guns.
Hey, damn, you know what? If being as young as we were, I don't blame you. Like,
yeah. Right now, we got Star Fox Zero on the Wii U playing a song called Inside the Colony.
A very misunderstood game, but I can totally understand why people misunderstand it. It's very confusing to play. But like I said, got some new releases that are just bangers. And first up is Star Wars Outlaws. That is going to be on the B-roll right now. And we have From the official website, quote, experience the first ever open world Star Wars game set between the events of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Explore distinct locations across the galaxy, both iconic and new. Risk it all as Kay Vess, a scoundrel seeking freedom and the means to start a new life, along with her companion Nix. Fight, steal, and outwit your way through the galaxy's crime syndicates as you join the galaxy's most wanted. Now, all right, Drix, Star Wars Outlaws officially releases this Friday, August 30th on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series consoles, but you can play it right now by purchasing the Gold or Ultimate Editions or by playing the game through Ubisoft Plus, the subscription service.
Wow. Okay, yeah, if you want to add that to your subscription service list, you could be diving into Outlaws tonight.
Right now. Why would you want to listen to us? You could be putting $15 down here, Ubisoft. Give me here $15. I want to play some Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you could throw down $100 for a Gold or an Ultimate Edition.
Mm-hmm. Which seems to be the style as of late.
Hey, you know what? I guess if you're gonna go big, you're either gonna go big or go home, right?
Yeah. So you can say, I did it before you did.
I got this. I got to play the game 3 days early.
Yep. Whopper points. Brownie points.
And you know what, Drix? It's not the only one that's out there, because next up we have Visions of Mana.
Oh yeah. No, this is only going to ramp up as far as things that I like and want to see, because this is a beloved series that we finally get a new installment of. Not a remaster, something brand spanking new.
Brand new. And from the Steam page, quote, Visions of Mana is a brand new title in this series revolving around the sacred sword and mana. The protagonist, Val, and his childhood friend, Hina, the newly appointed Alm of Fire, set off on a journey to the Mana Tree. And Drix, Visions of Mana releases tomorrow, Thursday, August 29th, on the PS5, PC, PS4, and Xbox Series consoles. So you can play this pretty much with your old stuff, too.
Yeah, very nice. You don't need the latest hardware. I mean, for a series that started like on the Super Nintendo, then yeah.
Very true. And then finally, in our new release, for our new releases, we have Gundam Breaker 4.
Oh yeah, we are not only building models, we are breaking them.
From the official website, quote, create your own Ultimate Gundam in the newest Gundam Breaker. With more customizable parts than ever before, you finally have the freedom to build your perfect Gunpla. Test it in battle using the brand new dual weapon system, and break off parts of your enemies and add them to your collection. At Drix, Gundam Breaker 4 hits PC, PS5, PS4, and Switch tomorrow, August 29th, so you can bring this one on the go.
Yeah, man. I have not played the first three, but this doesn't, it doesn't seem like there's too intense of a story you got to keep up with. More like get in there, break some parts, build some Gundams, have a good time. This is definitely something I want to check out.
Yeah, it really looks really fun. It's also getting pretty good reviews because of just the simple amount of customization you have over your Gunpla. Because from what I understand, it really is like building those little model kits. You can kind of like mix and match how you want them to and where it's applicable. Yeah. So like, dude, give me like a Heavy Arms one hand, and then like Sunblade the other hand, with like Wing
nice
Gundam
finger or something.
Yeah, exactly. With like the Wing Gundam chassis. Come on, let's do this. Like,
yeah, some Zaku, some Char the Red Comet.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? Your favorites, right? Just whatever you want.
Yeah. Yep. Whatever you're into, from the entire Gundam franchise. Pretty sweet.
And we're gonna go to another break, but before we do, we have one more thing to talk about. And you know what? I'm just gonna roll some B-roll right now. Give me 1 second. Well, Herald Divers B-roll. That's what we're doing, because we're gonna talk about a little bit of a shooter. And next up we have some impressions from a prominent figure in the streaming and FPS community, weighing in on Valve's latest worst-kept secret, the hybrid MOBA FPS Deadlock. Drix, have you seen this?
Ooh. No, I have actually not caught any wind of this. This was leaked, so we weren't supposed to be talking about this, but then some word got out.
So it was like a leak that turned into like a pseudo announcement because like Valve hasn't like announced it, but they've acknowledged it.
Yeah.
And like
It's turned into damage control.
yeah, it's kind of turned into damage control because it was one of those things where like people like caught wind of Deadlock and they were like, oh, what is this? And they had a peek and they realized it was a thing on Steam and that like, you know, it was just a game that for some reason like 1,000 people were playing and no one had ever heard of it.
Yeah, no, it's like they're just digging around in there for Half-Life 3 and they stumbled onto something else.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, this is interesting. So, but like I said, we have a prominent streamer. It's Counter-Strike Pro and streamer extraordinaire Shroud. He gave his take on the game during a recent live stream, and you know what, Drake? His impressions were glowing.
Very nice. Cool. Unreleased game reviews from a pro streamer player.
Hey, you know what, pro Counter-Strike guy, I trust his judgment when it comes to a shooter and you know what, this is what he had to say, quote, this game is easily, and I mean easily, gonna take over when it comes out in 2 years. Whoa.
Oh, and wait.
Like,
yeah, we're already excited and have to wait 2 years now.
Yeah, because you know what? He also followed it up with, quote, this is the first arena shooter MOBA that's actually good. All the other ones kind of stink. And you know what, Drix?
Kind of stink?
You know, your mileage may vary with these MOBA arena shooter style games. You know, you could say what you want about them. You know, Overwatch kind of lit the world on fire, but I don't think that's as much of a MOBA as it is just a straight up hero shooter. And at the end of the day, who really knows what to call? Like, it all just kind of falls under the hero shooter umbrella, right? Like,
yeah, where's the line that you draw between hero shooter and MOBA? Like, does a MOBA have to be like RTS style, like Dota or League?
But you know, I will say Deadlock definitely seems more of a MOBA than it does just a straight up shooter. Because the creeps are there, the progression is there, all that stuff is there. And you know what? If Counter-Strike Pro is like, man, this is going to be pretty good. I mean, gee, Drix, that sounds like you're right in that a 2-year wait is not something that we want to do.
Yeah, no, and I think you're right. Creeps might be what makes it more of a MOBA, like other stuff to do other than just take on enemy team players
directly
head to head. You know,
yeah,
there's got to be a little bit of that level grind, like maybe some items. Man, that might make it more of a MOBA.
Hey, and you know what? We're gonna take a break right now, but geez, Drix, this track is retro high octane. What is this?
We were talking about Konami music a little earlier when we were talking about Castlevania. This is a Game Boy game called Kid Dracula.
Oh,
a song called Hot, Hot, Hot. The volcano level, of course.
Hot, hot, hot. Because that's what it is on CFM Radio. Here we are. We'll be right back.
doesn't really matter what you say, matter what you did to me, 'cause now you are right here in my arms. You set me free. It doesn't really matter that you left, matter that you went away. I knew that you would come back one day. Now you're here to stay. It doesn't really matter what you say, matter what you did to me, 'cause now you are right here in my arms. You set me free. It doesn't really matter that you left, matter that you went away. I knew that you would come back one day. Now you're here to stay. It doesn't really matter what you said, matter what you did to me, 'cause now you are right here in my arms. You set me free. It doesn't really matter that you left, matter that you went away. I knew that you would come back one day. Now you're here to stay. You're here to stay.
Gaming news.
CFM Radio, we are back and definitely have some gaming news for you.
Oh yeah, smash between these video game tunes. If you're a fan of Richard Jacques, the Sega composer, you may recognize that one, called It Doesn't Really Matter from Metropolis Street Racer on the Dreamcast.
You know, Richard Jacques, the dude has a stellar catalog of iconic tracks. You know, you probably, if you're a video game fan and you love like pretty much any Sega game, you probably love a Richard Jacques song.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic R, you know, can you feel the sunshine living in the city? Like, way beyond the quality of the game they were made for. But
I mean, humming the bass line from Jet Set
Yeah.
Radio, like, you know, like, my God.
Yes.
Man, you know, just fantastic musical direction from the Camp Sega. You know, and
Went to college for composition, you know, unlike a lot of these music makers.
Jesus, you know what? It definitely shows too. My God, like,
Yeah, you can hear it in the harmony and the theory, and there's tons of YouTube breakdowns on how that guy puts chords together.
God.
The horn section. Yeesh.
And not just that, you know, he also is really good at grabbing talent, right? Like this dude,
Yeah.
like again, you might love names like Hideki Naganuma or like Crush 40, and that's again all Richard Jacques. Like
Yeah.
he's that dude.
They got tapped. They
Like,
were tapped on the shoulder by Rich.
hey, you know what? So like I said, if you probably love a Richard Jacques song and you don't even know it if you're any kind of Sega fan, which is amazing because it's just
Yes.
so prolific.
Yep. And here I am to dig through the crates of the digital realm and play these songs for you.
Hey, we can't let him die, Drix.
Nope. Pass them on.
We can't let him die. And you know what, Drix? You know what else can't die? Goddamn
What is that?
PlayStation.
Never. Never, ever, ever. Till PlayStation 137.
I can't. Now we've got a story coming out of Japan, and I kind of want to preface this with all of this, what we are about to hear, with there was a huge currency crash in Japan recently. The yen was devalued in a pretty big way.
Yeah.
So they're going through kind of an economic correction at the moment. So kind of keep that in mind when you're listening to the following story, because out of Team PlayStation home base, the PS5 is selling like crazy, but maybe not for the reasons you would expect. Because from Twisted Voxel, the headline is, quote, PS5 starts selling out in Japan ahead of official price increase.
Ooh, yeah. Get them while they're cheaper than they're going to be.
Yeah, and like I said, Drix, the yen itself is being devalued at a rapid rate. So this price increase is just a really big deal for the people of Japan.
Yeah, sounds like some Wall Street bets gone wrong.
So from the article, quote, Dr. Serkan Toto, CEO of Japan game industry consultancy Kantan Games, has shared that the PS5 has sold out at a consumer electronics retailer chain in Japan known as Bic Camera before the recently announced price increase goes into effect on September 2nd, 2024. He mentioned that just as he arrived at the store, he could see the Bic Camera staff changing the PS5 display tags for both versions to sold out.
Not available at Bic Camera anymore, huh?
And Bic Camera is one of the bigger chains in Japan. Think of it kind of like as sort of like a smaller scale Best Buy, like smaller than Best Buy, not as non-existent as Circuit City, right? Or Fry's,
Definitely above Radio Shack.
Yeah, definitely above Radio Shack. Like it's like the little engine that could more or less, but for Japan, that's a big deal.
Yeah, they tend to pack a lot more in smaller spaces in their stores, right?
Yeah, so they've got for Bic Camera as a chain to be out of PS5 consoles is a big deal. And reading further, quote, for those unaware, Sony Interactive Entertainment recently announced its decision to revise the suggested retail prices of PS5 and related peripherals in Japan from Monday, September 2nd, 2024. The company cited the recent challenging external environment, including the current fluctuations in the global economic situation, as its impact on the console business, as the reason behind the decision. The retail price for the PS5 digital edition has increased from 59,980 yen to 72,980 yen. And the retail price for the disc version of the console has increased from 66,980 yen to 79,980 yen. Drix, on paper, right there,
yeah.
no sort of currency conversion alone, that's a big jump.
Yeah, the difference of 12,000 yen for the digital.
Oh my gosh.
Almost 15, 20 for the disc edition. Yeesh. I mean, I don't know how hard I got to work for an extra 10,000 yen, but it doesn't sound fun.
Drix, like I said, we're not going to do any currency conversion right now or anything like that. You know what? Actually, let me see. Can I do a quick Google? Yen to dollar. All right. So, 1 Japanese yen equals about 69 cents. Or not even 0.0069 United States dollars.
Oh, still. Yeah.
So, now let's see if we can really. So what do we got here? 72,000. It's about $505.
Okay.
And
Not
that is an
too unlike what we're paying, but yeah, that's for the digital one too. So.
No, that was for the disc. So and then so it went up from about 414 to about 505.
Oh, okay.
If you want to think about that in dollars. So that's a pretty substantial jump. They pretty much got about $100 dropped on top of them.
Yeah. I mean, makes sense. They might be a little cheaper in Japan than in the States after converting, but nobody wants to see those prices go up, especially if you haven't gotten a PS5 yet.
And especially such a huge, like a really steep price increase. That's not just it's not kind of like, oh, it's like $50, right? Like you can't. There's nothing to offset that. There's not like giving you a game or anything with that. And then,
Yeah.
And on top of that, from the article again, quote, related peripherals are also going to be revised, or have their suggested retail prices revised. Drinks, like
Yeah, so your controller is going up too, huh?
yeah, and we don't have those numbers right now.
PSVR.
Yeah, oh my God, good luck. If you haven't picked up a PSVR in Japan, good luck. Like,
Yeah.
man, that's really a big price increase. And this is also coming hot off the heels of other price increases in the Eurozone. Like Europe just had a price increase here. PS5 price increase. Europe. Really quick, just so I have my numbers right here. Yeah, right here. From the PlayStation blog, PS5 price to increase in select markets due to global economic environment. Europe, PS5 with HD disc drive is now $549.99.
Ooh. Wow.
UK $479.99.
The global dots. And we're seeing a trend.
Yep. Hey, interestingly enough, the price did jump in China, and this is an article from the PlayStation blog. It's not very recent. It's from 2 years ago, in August 2022. So, mind you, the price went up in China, right? And it's still sold out in China from Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah. Wow. That says something.
So PlayStation. So guys, here's the deal. But we're about to head out. But the one thing that I kind of want to leave everybody with is, again, we covered it a couple weeks back. Xbox's hardware was down 49%. And
Yeah.
PlayStation just sold out in Japan. It moved 10 million, or Black Myth Wukong moved 10 million units, and here I'll double check the numbers again. China PS5 sales, Black Myth Wukong. Here we go. The Black Myth Wukong, the Phantom Blade Zero. Hopeful. Okay, here we go. Okay, so from TechSpot, according to reports from one of China's largest retailers, the Alibaba Group, PS5 sales more than doubled on its platform in the week leading up to Wukong's release.
Yeah. Kind of love to see it.
Yeah, so PS5 flying off the shelves everywhere, for better or worse, right? Sometimes it's for the game, like the game is like people really want to play the game. Sometimes it's the price is gonna jump by $100, and I want mine now, and not in like a week.
Yeah. Hey, how about that last little bit of financials you shared recently about how Nintendo, despite making less overall income than Sony, still has more profit after taking away their like operating costs and stuff.
That is true. I don't have those.
You shared?
I'm not gonna go into that that figure right now, but it is true. It's not exponential, but it shows I guess, power of the Nintendo strategy of what do they call it? Damn, it just escaped me. Lateral thinking with withered technology.
Yeah, that is a good way of putting it because, yeah, I mean, overall, Sony might be making a ton of money, but they're definitely spending a lot more too. Whereas, as far as just cold hard profits goes, even though they're not raking in as big of a chunk, Nintendo's still coming out on top as far as the green versus the red.
Yeah, making money. Like, just straight up making money. Nintendo is making money. You know what? And I gotta say it again. I don't mean to kick a guy when he's down, Drix. But when push comes to shove, how many Concords can you afford?
No. Yeah, even the IGN poll asking if people are gonna buy the new Xbox Series S when it comes out, and a whopping like 82% of the people polled were like, nope, absolutely not gonna happen.
No.
Why? When you can play Game Pass on your Amazon Fire Stick.
Yeah, exactly. Game Pass on my Fire Stick. Who cares?
Yep. Stream it, baby.
Stream that, baby. And you know what, Drix? I'm not gonna go stream it, but we're gonna play some games, I think.
Yep,
and I think it's time we got out of here.
Yeah, it's been another fun episode of CFM Radio. We'll be back next Wednesday. We'll be back. I'll be back for Mother Monday over on Twitch this Monday around 8 o'clock. So tune in over at twitch.tv/CFM on Twitch. Vector will be back with the backlog beatdown, coming at you with some more Sonic Frontiers.
Absolutely. That'll be next Tuesday, coming at you with more Sonic Frontiers. Hey, you know what? We're on the final boss. We were on a gauntlet. We have 400 rings to beat 4 bosses. It's a grueling task, but I believe I've gotten down the patterns of the first 2 bosses, and we're gonna cruise on those last 2 bosses. So you definitely want to stick around and tune into the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CFM on Twitch. Check out those VODs. Make sure you are up to speed with Mother Monday, with the backlog beatdown. Because you know what, Drix? If I do say so myself, both of those series are just getting really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. We'll see you next